Number 1. Spare room. The rent a room scheme lets you earn up to a threshold of £7,500 per year tax-free from letting out your furnished accommodation in your home. You can let out as much of your home as you want. The tax exemption is automatic if you earn less than £7,500. This means that you do not need to do anything. It's easy to find people looking for rooms on sites such as Spare Room. For example, imagine you had a 2-bedroom flat in London Bridge. You could rent out one of the rooms for £600 per calendar month. Number 2. Rent out the whole house or flat on an AST. This is how a lot of accidental landlords start their property investing journey. They move to another location as they decide to rent their property out rather than sell it, as they want something to come back to. In this scenario, you could let a letting agent look after the property. They can find you a tenant and look after any repairs. A lot of accidental landlords suddenly realize that on a monthly basis, the rent they receive covers the mortgage and they have some money left over each month. Money for which they don't actually have to physically do anything. If they have equity in their property, because they have owned it for a number of years, they realize that they could remortgage the property onto a buy-to-let mortgage and release some of those funds. Number 3. Rent your house or flat as a serviced apartment. Service accommodation is pitched as being a relatively new property strategy in the UK, but in reality it's not, and it's just the terminology that has changed. People have been renting out cottages in Devon and Cornwall for years, and these were called furnished holiday lets. The concept has been brought to many areas of the UK in lots of towns and cities, and has been called serviced accommodation. You could, for example, list your house or flat on Airbnb or Booking.com. Here the property is rented out on a nightly basis rather than on a monthly basis, but the bookings that you get can be long-term bookings, but usually at a much better rate, given that you are charging on a nightly rate. Number 4. Rent a house or an apartment and rent it out as serviced accommodation. This concept is the same as above, but without you having to own the property. For example, I started a service accommodation business in 2017 where I would rent an apartment from a letting agent and then sublet this apartment on a nightly basis. The rent and bills for one of my apartments used to be £1,500 per calendar month, and I would achieve bookings that were looking to pay £102 a night, meaning that I would get roughly £3,000 in bookings, less the £1,500, resulting in a cash flow of £1,500. This is without owning the property, but just by managing a property. Number 5. Buy and sell a property using the B4R model. Using the B4R model I developed, you could buy a house, add significant amounts of value and sell it. For example, I purchased this 2-bedroom house in Bedford for £97,500. My plan was to relocate the bathroom downstairs in order to create an additional bedroom upstairs, therefore creating a 3-bedroom house. The valuation of this house as a 3-bedroom house came back at £180,000. So if at that point I had sold the property, I would have made £41,250, which represented a 35% profit on cost. Using the B4R model, you could buy a flat and add significant amount of value and sell it. For example, I purchased this 1-bedroom apartment in West Hampstead for £303,000, which got valued at £450,000 6 months later. I convert the kitchen into a bedroom and create an open plan kitchen diner. We received a £450,000 valuation once the refurbishment was complete, and so I would have made at least £60,000, which represented a 15% profit on cost. Number 6. Buy and hold. Using the B4R model, you could buy a flat, add a significant amount of value, and refinance it so that you can benefit from 2 things: cash flow from the property on a monthly basis, capital growth over time. For example, I purchased this 1-bedroom apartment in Vauxhall. My plan was to use the B4R model to supercharge its value. The real increase in value in relation to this apartment was created by going from a 1-bedroom apartment to a 2-bed, 2-bath apartment. The valuation of the apartment came back at £390,000, at which point we got an 80% loan-to-value mortgage. We were advanced £312,000, which meant that the money left in on this particular property was £36,000. This apartment in central London literally cost me £36,000. If I bought this apartment the traditional way, I would have been in for £125,000. I have always tried to think differently and always looked at ways in which I could think outside the box. So, think outside the box.